Happy Friday, y'all. Happy Friday. It's a lovely Friday in Atlanta. It's a cold Friday in Atlanta, and it's a snowy Friday in Atlanta. We don't get snow often, but when we do, it's a beautiful thing to see. Yeah, until maybe if overnight, like tonight, it ices up and then the roads get a little messed up, but cross our fingers that it's going to be okay. I'm Dr. Triphi. Welcome to Sit on the Couch with Dr. Triphi tonight. I've invited some fabulous guests. Their name is Moun Sèwyé. And when they come on, they're going to tell us everything about who they are. I have been following Moun Sèwyé for a while, and I've been having these conversations lately. My goal is to encourage us in Dominica in particular. I speak the way I do because I'm from Dominica in the Caribbean, not Dominican Republic. We love Dominican Republic, but they're a different country. We're between Guadeloupe and Martinique, okay? And DR, or Dominican Republic, is up north, close to Haiti and Puerto Rico. But I've been having these conversations in the hopes that we explore ideas for ways to maximize our potential in Dominica. There's a lot of pain on Dominica right now. A lot of people are feeling pressure, and we're talking a lot about it. I'm hoping that we start doing more about it, but I think we need to hear each other clearer because there's been a lot of noise, as in like just a cacophony of, it sounds like distress to me. It sounds like distress to me. And Moun Sèwyé, to me, is an inspiration because as you listen to them talk, you'll hear it. I hope you hear what I hear in their voices. And that's the reason I've invited them on. So I'm going to bring them on and they can introduce themselves. They'll tell us more about their organization, what they do, what they hope for Dominica, and how they perhaps hope you can help them. I can help them. Okay? All right. So here they are. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Moun Sèwyé, ça fait?
Greetings, greetings, greetings.
Greetings,
Nula,
greetings.
nula.
Zola, Zola.
Greetings, yeah.
Yeah, man. I know we're going to. Greetings, greetings. Tyrone. Yes, ça fait. Zola.
Yes, sir.
Okay, our reception is a little wonky, but I am sure it's going to clear up. I'm sure it's going to clear up. For some reason, it's a little tonight, but can you all hear me well?
Yes.
Yeah, loud and clear.
All right, very good. All we need to be able to do at least is to hear you guys. I appreciate you all for coming. I'm a listener. I've been a listener for maybe a good 2 years now.
Okay,
And
cool.
I can't stop listening. I can't stop listening. So first off, I guess I want to ask you guys, what is Moun Sèwyé? What are you all about? What does that mean even?
Well, Doc, Moun Sèwyé really, yeah. We were on the sidelines and we were watching what was happening in Dominica. And we felt the conversation was truly lacking. And we feel like we needed to have that hard conversation, that serious conversation. And we thought to ourselves, as young men in the community, looking at, because for years we just there on the side watching, for years, and we just feeling like it don't making sense. We needed to add something. We felt we could add something to it, and then we went around. And actually, the name is Moun Sèwyé. We sat down and we brainstormed and we tried to come up with a few names. We came up with a few names, and you'd believe it's Dice, King Dice, and Penny Rice. That each of them came up with a piece of the name. One came up with Sèwyé, and one, and we put it together, and that's it. Moun Sèwyé was born.
Yeah, I like the name, man. Now, here's the thing. So, for those people who don't speak Creole, Creole is our language in Dominica. That's a language. For me, it's a high vibration language because our people created the language to save their lives, to save their lives, to save their DNA, so we could
Because,
exist.
sorry, Doc, and one of the things that why we name it in Creole is that we felt that Creole was something that really catch our attention as
Yes,
Dominicans, and it had more of a ring to it than just
for
an
sure.
English name. So we said we wanted to be in Creole, and yeah,
For sure. Creole in my mind has more energies. It has an energy of
definitely.
life. So sometimes, we'll say that to each other. We'll say like, man, I want to tell you the joke, but if I give it to you in Creole, you'll really get it. You'll feel it. Yeah.
Mr. Quick, quack.
Cause. Mate. Yeah. Well, y'all, so Moun Sèwyé, I think they're champions of change in Dominica. And they're more than a group of activists. How many of you guys are in the organization?
Initially, we start off with 5 of us, it was, I think. But then right now, we have a few more people. We have some more people.
You
I
have some
can't
more
say
people.
exactly how much.
Yeah,
Building and growing.
Yeah.
you're building
Because
and
people
growing.
have actually asked us to become members, and we don't really have like a membership to say. But
Okay.
yeah, I feel we need to maybe organize ourselves on a higher level in terms of getting others involved on a wider
Mhm.
base.
So what you're saying is there is interest from other people in joining the
Definitely,
organization.
definitely,
Yeah.
yes, definitely.
So I like to do my research, right? So I went, Google is my friend, Google University is my friend. And Google says that you all are more than a group of activists and that
Okay,
you're a movement, which is different. Yeah. You're a movement fueled by the collective strength of local citizens committed to addressing social injustices and with a focus on transparency, justice, and human rights. You act as a voice for the voiceless, advocating for the rights of every Dominican. That's a mouthful, but tell me more about that. Does that sound like you guys?
Yeah, man, most definitely. That's what it is,
that is it.
So,
Yeah,
so Coach
we
Mike, so introduce yourself now, Coach Maggie. Tell us a little bit about you.
yeah, well, yeah, Coach Maggie, and my that's my profession right now. Coach, I
Mm-hmm.
coach basketball and football, and I
Mm-hmm.
specifically the youths, the youths using sports to help save the youths,
Yeah.
as using it as a vessel, as an instrument, and I'm trying to draw the
Mm-hmm.
interest and being part of the Moun Sèwyé. Yeah, that is, we see that our people, like we're not having like piracy serious conversation, and we're not standing for each other. We seeing injustice and stuff like that, and we remaining silent. But we not on that, So
Mm-hmm.
we definitely are putting ourselves at the forefront as a voice for the voiceless,
Yeah.
and stand up for all of us, and encourage the rest of us to get that courage, build that confidence to stand up for ourselves and for each other.
I'm hearing a theme so far, and Tyrone, you'll tell me more about that. For you, I'm hearing a theme of, look, we've been there, it's kind of like you're watching an accident. You're watching a wreck essentially happening. The car going off the cliff.
I will just pray about it.
You're tired. You're hoping that. What are you hoping for? What are you hoping that your words will do? That your actions will do? Tyrone.
Well, good night, Dr. Triphi. My name is making my introduction, Tyro
Welcome
Nicholas,
back.
aka
Welcome back.
Flacco.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
I've been on with Dr. Triphi before, but what I would like to see actually, or I actually hope for, being a part of this movement is to inspire minds, and to young and old, because we never know where our next leader will come from, or next set of leaders. And the thing is, we're not just looking for one leader. We need leaders in all corners of our society. If we need to revive our institutions, It's not going to be something that can be achieved by one man. We need to forge a vision, and to me, I see Moun Sèwyé as the vehicle that will bring forward that kind of unified vision, because it's not I why I gravitated towards the brothers is because this was never like a political thing. It was always a thing about bringing the people together around the issues that affecting us in common.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yeah.
think once we identify our commonalities, then we tend to be less divisive and more goal oriented. So
So
that's what I hope to achieve.
once we identify what we share in common, yeah, our
Yes,
common
yes,
pain and our common goals, yeah.
yeah,
Like I was saying, I say that all the time. How are we going to agree on everything? We don't have to, but there are many things we agree on, and there are many things that hurt us, yeah, in
yeah,
common. We got to. That's where we start. So that's what you're saying. That's what I hear you saying with that.
yeah. Because I mean, look at the diversity between us. I mean, Maggie into the sports and so on. I kind of spread out, doing IT and doing my beekeeping and different things. Pyro,
Beekeeping, you a beekeeper
yeah,
too?
yes. Well, I I believe that the individual has to have the opportunity to be, to be well rounded. If we can touch on, and that is part of the reason that our diversity gives us strength as a group.
Mhm.
you know I find that sometimes, while I might see something from one perspective, the other brothers might see it another way and would challenge me to see things in different ways. Now, w- w- whether we might agree, it would be something else, but just the fact that we can basically have that kind of dialogue and have that kind of, because it's not necessarily a matter of being right. It's a matter of us improving and always improving, and
Mhm.
seeking out the best solutions that will make the best kind of life for all of us.
I love
um
that. I love
yeah,
that.
it's
What
yeah,
you're saying is we don't always need to agree on everything. And I watch you guys on Monday nights. Pyro, can
yeah.
you tell us a little bit more about you? I watch you all on Monday nights, and I see when you all do it to each other, where you're like,
Yeah.
yeah. So Buju might be like, well,
Yeah, but
I
because
don't
that's a
know.
dynamic that we do not see. I mean, within the current um within the halls of governors right now. I mean,
Mm,
even if we have what we would consider a majority in parliament, but even within that majority, you never see the kind of refining of ideas, because there might be somebody that might see things differently. It's always a matter of the eyes have it, and
right.
that cannot augur well for progress and for development, because to really progress, we need to have everybody involved, and almost we'll never be really on the same level, but we have to almost make the best effort to bring everybody up to speed, so that we can have a more cooperative attitude out of the people, because they see their benefit in putting their best foot forward towards achieving whatever it may be. So
Yeah, I like that.
uh,
That is diversity.
yeah,
Strength is in diversity. Strength is in
yes,
diversity.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Pyro, tell us a little bit more about you.
What could I say? Well,
Personally. Yes.
if we start from ways back, originally Harlem boy, Newton, born and raised. All my family I know is Newton. Yeah. So yeah, I born and raised Newton. Went to SMP, SMA,
Mm-hmm.
studied architecture in Cuba, graduated in 2004. Worked
Mm.
in the region, St. Lucia, for a few years, Sanders, CCI, few other
Mm.
companies, Lynn Pettigrew Architects, so
Mm-hmm.
kind of have a diverse background in architectural field, really. But
Mm-hmm.
Newton, yeah, I kind of grew up loving my community, playing football, basketball, participating. And
Mm-hmm.
when we grew up, the community was different. So, you'd see people would engage with one another, have those discussions. Like I remember a young boy, Fair Trade, Cornwall Street. Oh, girls, all the elderly fellas, Peggy Brown, all them, and them man would be around discussing, talking,
Yes.
taking their drinks, playing domino. Today, you don't
Yes.
really have that. You could ask them
Mm.
questions, ask them advice, they would speak to you,
Mm-hmm.
go around. Today, you don't really have them kind of positive vibes in the community. It's more, I mean, the youth's not bad, but the progressive push to get them to realize what they want to do with themselves, it's not there. Because when you look at
Mm.
it, just like we say we living in a democracy, and a democracy, you need participation, you need inclusion, and so on, and that doesn't exist in Dominica. Not participation, not inclusion. That is why sometimes I listen to the prime minister speak, and the how he says it, the like the people that's supposed to be. They have a way they just say it, I doesn't even remember. But basically, the people that's supposed to be affected by whatever decision they take in, that they would consult with them and so on. But who are those people? Sometimes you have to wonder who are those people, because
Mm-hmm.
most civic most civic organizations in Dominica are non-functional.
Mm.
So you wonder with who they have in these discussions to come up with those solutions that they are coming up with, and you hear nothing from those civic groups, you hear nothing from the architects, you hear nothing from the engineers, you hear nothing from the doctors, you hear nothing from the lawyers, and all those are civic organizations that's supposed to be contributing towards the development of the country. I mean, the cooperatives, you have
Mm-hmm.
all those different organizations, you hear nothing from them. So sometimes you have to wonder who are the stakeholders. Yes, that's
Yeah.
the word I was looking for. We have to wonder
Yeah.
who are the stakeholders that saying that this is what needs to be done, and then we see the discrimination and so on
Mm.
in the communities in the country. So we as a group, I mean, we do our research, we read, we consult, and one of the things that we came up with was to have a better balance of power, especially within the politics. We feel like one of the solutions that is really needed in Dominica is to take away some of the controls from the politicians. Feel like the politicians, they have too much power. The power needs to be redistributed within the society. Have the civic groups have some power, have the society in itself have some power, more education for the
Mm.
communities, for the youth, education, especially people rights and so on, and
Like the
have a better,
constitutional rights, like
yes,
education on the constitutional rights, what they are owed as citizens.
right, so
Mm.
people can understand how they function within a democracy, how they function within a society, within a government, how you interact within your government and so on, and I
Mm-hmm.
feel like the communication is something that is of the utmost importance. So that the educational aspect of it is something that is truly lacking, and we have most people in Dominica, most of us, we know nothing about our rights. We know nothing about how the government's supposed to function, and those institutions affect our lives so much that which that is something that's supposed to be ingrained in every one of us.
But people might say we are smart, like we are smart people.
Well, it's relative. I mean,
Mm.
smart according to what
Mm.
and in what context.
Mhm.
If we don't have that educated decision or that educational factor to it, then our decisions that we are making in certain contexts may not be as smart as we think it is. So I believe that our educational system within itself is lacking, and we see it because I tell man, I remember growing up and growing up being on the block. Them things were mostly for people that didn't go to school. Right now, fellas that on the block, you might come on the block, you'll see a man with a that went even university,
Wow.
college, you know,
Wow.
and you can see it in the society. So you can see the degradation of the society, and we need solutions. We need solutions, you know, and I believe I believe one of our most important solution is the redistribution of power within our political structure. Too much
Okay.
power within the
Too much
politicians.
power within the politicians. So I'm
Yes.
hearing that, and I'm hearing that at the grassroots level, like so that's a big top problem. But from the bottom up, you're saying that the people who used to instill knowledge about the community, knowledge about ourselves, like the elders, right? The older men on the block,
Yes.
to sit to impart knowledge to the young ones. In my village, we used to have a lazy bench. So that's where that happened. The lazy bench after work.
Yes,
After
that
work.
is true. Everywhere is to have the lazy bench. Come on.
Everywhere you go, you sit and people would just sit and talk. On the weekends, it would be the same. In
Yes,
Portsmouth, on
definitely.
Borough Square, you would meet men would just sit and you know, older men, younger men, and you see the younger ones would just be there listening, you know, but you're soaking it in. You're soaking
Yes.
it in. Coach Maggie, are you seeing that in the sports arena as well? Like that kind of like a kind of a miss.
Yes, definitely. I definitely. Is like a generation gap where those who like the same elders we're talking about for us, who did it for us, provided opportunities and activities for us to get opportunities.
Right.
When we was younger, they create the leagues, the little
Mm-hmm.
tournaments, the trips for us to go around, travel and stuff like that and have fun.
Mm-hmm.
Our generation that like we drop the ball. Some of so you don't have a lot, you don't have enough of people doing that thing like what I'm doing with the youths.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel lonely when I look around. I don't see much other people doing that, and and the youths and them need. I know when I was younger, I gravitated towards being an altar boy through
Mm-hmm.
sports. I
Yeah.
didn't really like the church, but I saw that the altar boys had their own team with nice uniforms, and they were going
Mm-hmm.
on camps and that kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing. Social activities, and that
Right.
drew me to. Because I didn't like to be in the front of crowds. I was kind of
Right.
shy, but
Mm-hmm.
I decided I wanted to be so much to be involved in the sports and the fun they were having. They had nice uniforms. They were traveling to different parts of the country, playing football, camping on weekends, and I
Right.
wanted to do that, so I joined. And so when we watch right now, I don't see that. And when I with the youths and them around me, when I speak with them, and I observe the behavior and the behavioral pattern,
Mm-hmm.
all they want to do is have fun and travel around. That is, that makes them feel good. And
Mm-hmm.
if we can provide that little thing, it will make a big difference. You know what I mean? But a lot of our generation, like we get selfish, like boy, we're on our own scene, which I can always for ourselves. It turn to
Mm-hmm.
a thing about check yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and forget about everybody. You know what I mean? So it's like it have so many people that did that go that route that now
Mm-hmm.
you have no chance for them. The people that are involved in these services like teachers and those things that cared, like the nurses that cared, the policemen that cared, and really had a passion for the job and really love people and want to take care of people. Right now,
Mm-hmm.
these um these services are more of a means to end for these people. They just people are in these avenues are just they're just looking for salary. They don't really care about
Yeah.
you know, and that is very detrimental. So it's
Yeah.
like nobody cares. There are much enough people that care for
Mm-hmm.
each other, and that is something that we need to get back to caring for one another. That is the
So
only way we're gonna, get to where we need to get to.
get
But we have to
ourselves
take back
back.
the care. Yeah.
Yeah. Flacco, what do you think we lost our hearts? You think we lost our hearts?
Well, I think honestly we've been stuck in survival mode for too long, and I think essentially we've developed a mechanism in that survival mode to insulate ourselves from certain things, from certain,
Yeah.
and is a trauma response,
Yes.
you
Yeah.
you may want to think that everybody, that you may see,
Yeah.
quote unquote, succeeding, that they, but all of us have had to pay some kind of price to advance, to get ahead, especially, with all of the odds being against you. Sometimes that's why I keep saying that, we have a notion of, you know charity being like, I have my last bread, so I will give you my last bread and I will stay hungry, you check.
Hmm.
But that, to me, that notion of charity is a toxic, notion, almost feeling that you have to be you to be a good person, you have to stay hungry and give somebody else. Like, to me that is just, to me that's vain. That's trying to prove a point that, I think charity, real charity, is in prosperity, in us being within that environment of prosperity and being able to be in service of each other. Because while the nurse up there giving the best quality healthcare, the best, somebody have to be in the position to give her the best pay too, so that she can provide the best for her family, so she can
Right.
continue to be of
Right.
sound mind when she goes to work, to
Right.
continue to provide the best healthcare. You cannot remove the psychological part of human beings
100%.
when, from the discussion, because
Hmm.
we tend to think that, you know the best people are those that continue to give in the worst circumstances. But
Hmm.
the question is, why does it have to be the worst circumstances?
Right. Right. Right.
Why can't
Right.
we be sharing together in the best of circumstances that we create? you know because to me, the whole idea of lack, or of not, to me, that is created by our values, what we put value on, you
Hmm.
know and there's a lot, a lot of education that we need to have.
Hmm.
um we tend to think that the brain drain doesn't have an effect on us, but it does. you know
Yes.
when you have the cream of the crop, the people with all of the best intentions being forced to migrate, to seek their own preservation, because they
Hmm.
can no longer operate in that survival mode. you
Hmm.
know People have a right to their aspirations. People have a right to want more, and to want the best, not just for other people but for themselves too.
For
So
themselves first, because we say you can't give from an empty cup now.
true, true, true. I keep saying that empty hand can't feed nobody.
No.
So I think we cannot labeling people as, like, selfish. I mean, yes, there are truly some genuinely selfish people, but we can we can we can identify with each other when we together facing this hostile environment that basically is upheld by our own inaction, by our own silence. Because
Do
when
we?
I look yeah,
That's
because look at this. Most of the good, quote unquote, good people, and
yeah.
when I look at the public service, for example, I see nothing but good people working
Right.
honestly to make their ends meet. But then, not being armed with that education, that knowledge of their rights and what is due to them, then
Hmm.
you will have a situation where a constitutional creature that was created for their protection, you know, under the name of the Public Service Commission, which has the responsibility to appoint public officers and to hold public officers to account, you know, to ensure that for example, situations in the public service where you have people working 30, 40 years unappointed, to me, that is abusing a person.
Yeah.
That is putting a person in a compromising position. You know,
Desperation.
you almost taking that person's job security based on you take away that person's job security, and basically that's why I see that every time the government change, people get, you know, shift, people getting, you know, new people, you know, because by virtue of that non-appointment,
Right.
you know, people need to be appointed so they can so that they can be truly independent. To me, I think it's undue influence when you dangle an appointment in front of a person, and you know, so I think that when people know where to apply pressure, then they should do so for their own benefit, you know. And we need to, it is a constant education, a constant sensitization to get people aware that, you know, you have a recourse, you have a choice, the choice is yours. Don't, because at the end of the day, if it's in our power to change things and we don't, then it becomes self-inflicted and there's nobody that we can blame but ourselves, you know.
So
People, we look at the apartments, for example, the apartments, and so we look at the apartments and we identify it clearly as, you know, like vote trapping, like it's a vote trap, you know, basically a
so can you
political
talk a
gimmick.
little bit more about that? What you say apartments, but you
Well,
assume everybody in Dominica
well, the
understands.
housing program, you know, some, you know, the famous quote from the prime minister that, you know, he put you in the house, so you know you should keep them in the house, you know, the kind of quid pro quo, you know, setup with the apartments. It's almost like, you know, we know that all of these people in that apartments, that is, you know, our votes. But when you corner, when it, to me, the apartments, it's in our eyes, you know, we see it straight up. But what's more insidious is when you corner the public service in that way, corner them into silence, where people kind of speak and kind of vocalize their dissatisfaction based on, you know, the lack of you know, they maybe
Safety,
looking
the
for a
lack of
point, and
safety.
they've already committed 30 years of their life
Yeah,
to,
yeah.
you know, and at that point they don't want to lose. That's why we hear at the end of you know, when people come to pre-retirement age, they have to, you know, look, maybe get government contracts to continue working for 5 years until they reach that pensionable age. So I think there's a lot of abuses happening within, you know, and
Within the
they are
system.
constitutionally created bodies there to deal with those things. So it's, yeah, it's a lot to, you know, that
Pyro,
we have to.
Pyro. So Tyrone Tyrone, you said a lot there, and the biggest thing that stands out to me is psychological principle that understands that, you know, you talked about charity. You talked about charity and doing for other people. Kind of like we've come into a place where everybody's expecting charity, almost. But there's also the survival mode that people have been, you're saying they've been kind of pushed into a corner where their livelihood is not safe. So they're in a state of survival, even though they've put in so much service into the different organizations in Dominica. A lot of people are working long years without being appointed. So they're like the new graduate that just comes in. You know, they can leave tomorrow, right? They can fire them at will. Yeah. And you, before you can move to big things like worrying about, you know, is my mental health okay? You know, is my spiritual health okay? I need to be able to eat. You need basic needs. You need to be sure about your basic
Yep.
needs. Like you got to be sure that you can pay your bills. You got to be sure that you can take care of your retirement. But if that is not safe, it's hard for people to elevate to higher consciousness. It's very hard. So you're basically one step down and you're fighting for food. Yeah, one more step down and people will hurt each other. So perhaps that's some of what we're seeing with where people become very protective of the very system that's abusing them
True.
because they're so close, they're so locked into the survival mode that I mean one bad thing and it's down even lower. Pyro, what do you think brought us to our knees like this? Because we were not like that. We were not like
Oh,
this. We were not like this.
I come to, sorry?
I said we were not like this. So what brought us to
Oh,
our knees?
definitely not. I mean, it's a combination of things. It wasn't just, and it happened over time. And I believe it started with Mamo and the dumbing down of the population, like what the Americans say, the dumbing down of the population. So when after
Mhm.
the 1979, Mamo removed civics from school and started
Yes.
dumbing down the population. So people really didn't, as you find the consecutive generations, it became a point where people don't even understand how their government function. People don't even understand how society is supposed to function. A thing like a constitution that is so important, that document, which is a social contract that establishes every institution within our society, and most of us have no clue idea about it, and I mean, for us, we were kind of fortunate enough that Dr. Francis Grell, the late Dr. Francis Grell, well, he taught me at SMA, and he's a
Mhm.
man of the community from Newtown. He's the one that really taught us about the Constitution. He was on the commission for reviewing the Constitution in 1997, I think it was. Yeah, and he's the one that taught us about the Constitution, as young boys in the community, and the same things like what I was talking about earlier on, So, like,
Mhm.
we don't really have that kind of organized where we can learn about them different things. I mean, right now we come and we did a part of it and we distributed constitutions and so on. But when I
Okay.
look at what is happening in Dominica, I saw it in Cuba. I was
Oh,
exposed to it
really?
in Cuba. Yes, the
Tell me more.
discrimination is a major part of keeping people in line in
Yeah.
right here in Dominica and in Cuba. So if you do not side with my views, if you do not side with what I instruct you to do,
Mhm.
I'm going to end your economic well-being. I can end you socially. I can end you on the different spectrums. Because if you look at it, the government controlling the vast majority of our economy,
Yeah.
right? Dominica's economy is like what, 1.5, 1.6 billion. The government budget is 1 point what, 1.1, 1.2. So the
Mm.
government controlling the vast majority of our economy, which is a GDP of. So when you look at it, if they come and they decide they end your employment, or they pull funding from you, or they refuse to employ you, or a lot of things, it can destroy you as an
Yeah.
individual, keep
Yeah.
you out of certain social vibes, and I saw that in Cuba. Before I saw it in Dominica, I saw it in Cuba. So
Wow.
when I saw it in Dominica, I understood it.
Mhm.
I understood it right away. The discrimination, and that is the tool. That's the tool. And even Roosevelt Carrot came and he said it on a program. That
What
program
did he
there,
say?
when he said if a red and a blue are equally qualified, he's going to employ the red.
Wow.
Because that is his people. But how can you, as a prime minister, openly violating the constitution like that? The
Mhm.
constitution telling you nobody is to be employed based on their political, religious, or and other
Affiliations.
yes,
Mhm.
so
Mhm. Well, let me
and
ask you all a personal question as we're talking about discrimination. Have you all, because if it's a tool, my guess is an organization like yours is really going against the grain, because I don't hear many people in Dominica talking like you guys. I gotta confess, I've said this before. I said one thing about the hospital in 2022 because my dad was just not getting proper care. And I made a statement on Facebook,
Yeah.
and within 2 hours, somebody had called me and said, "Be careful! Don't be
Exactly.
careful of what you say. People will start saying you're a bad person." Essentially, meaning they would hurt my reputation by saying
Exactly.
bad things about me.
And that is where the discrimination starts. We call it victimization and so on, and the whole pull string culture. Remember,
Hmm.
that is why I say it didn't start, it's not just one thing and it started over time. We have had that
Hmm.
pull string culture for
Right.
years and years and
For a long
generation and
time.
generation, It's not about
Hmm.
what you know, what you can do, is about
Who
who
you
know
know.
you,
Hmm.
and that is what our society has been for many years, and we need to change that. We need to get off of that.
Hmm.
And that is why I feel, to me, that the politicians, they have too much power, and the power needs to be redistributed in our society, and
But
even
how are we
things.
going to do that? How is that going to happen, Coach Maggie?
Well,
How are we
the
going to
way
do that?
the way I see it happening,
Eh,
is a matter of sitting down, putting the plan together in terms of the policies, like how we're going to redistribute the power, give more power to create them institutions, like for instance, the engineering. See, for instance, we build an international airport. We
mhm,
have not heard from the Engineers Society Association of Dominica. We have not seen the Architectural Society of Dominica. But
mhm.
yeah, it is. We have architects and engineers coming from Lord knows where, and
Right,
doing work in a
right,
foreign jurisdiction. We cannot go and
right,
work in their jurisdiction, but they can come and work in our jurisdiction. That is
right,
madness.
right.
And is those type of things allow the society to dictate how it wants to grow, give people the authority to be able to say, well, no, that is how we want our community to be. This is how we want it to be. So if the people in the community, you have the cooperatives and the different associations, you have the clubs, the sports groups,
Mhm,
all them different things. Them are civic groups, civic organizations.
mhm,
They are the ones that supposed to be able to say, well, okay, this is how we want the community to be. This is how, and along with the individuals can come and make their contribution. But those are part of the forums that contribute towards our formation and identity as a communities and as a nation. And we need
Well,
to get back to that. We need to get back to,
well,
so we need to put things in place to empower those organizations and people in the liberty, the people, individual. That is where the education, because without education, there's no democracy. And education is just one aspect of it. People need to understand now how to use that education, and I feel if we put those policies together and we visit each and every one of us Dominicans together, our fellow Dominicans, we visit them and we explain to them what we would like to achieve, I believe people would go with it. That vision
so this is for all
of
of you
creating.
guys.
Sorry?
So this is for all of you guys. Are you saying that you, as an organization, would do that? Because my guess is the
Definitely.
people who have the system as it is right now have zero interest in changing it.
They're
Exactly.
not willing.
It's not going to happen.
It's working for them. They
Correct.
can take
Yeah,
advantage of us. They
yeah.
can take all the money and have no accountability. They can bring in their friends. They basically what do they call them, kings and lords in a
Pimps up.
in a
Yeah, I'm gonna say it. It's like pimps up, pimps up. Yo, that's
Yeah, and
what I'm saying is
basically,
pimps up.
basically, what we need really essentially is for, like, we here and we in the forefront, and we speaking out. We're speaking out with no fear because we know our rights and our responsibility. And we're trying to inspire and encourage others to join, because strength in numbers. With the few of us speaking out, then we can be, brushed aside.
Mhm.
We can try to brush us aside. We might, but when it get more joined, then it gets louder. When it gets louder, then it begins to be more powerful, and it'll be more impactful and more effective. So we need everybody to understand that the power we have, and not just saying it, but understanding it, that we are the people, the government are our servants. They work for us. We need for them to grasp that, and not just yes, yet been said and check like. We're just saying that about them and have all the money, they're not paying, they're not doing what, but understanding how it works, like what we're saying, how the government works. And if we understand how it works, if everybody understands, they'll realize that without us, there's nobody gets paid. You know,
without us, the individual, individual, without me.
Yes. So we participating in our own demise right now by not, standing up with that courage and, speaking out. We actually, our silence is and our fear is actually making it worse for us, putting us in the situation we are in right now. We need to lose that fear. And for us to lose that fear and gain that confidence is to understand. That's what I always say, that's what brought me in. I myself didn't know about the Constitution and the power it holds and stuff like that until I saw the guys, in front of the president's house by the library there, using that book and the power it has to make the police understand that their rights, to tell them that they cannot be on the sidewalk. They're speaking and expressing themselves. And I saw how powerful that was. The police had to retreat. He was coming with his authority from the police, and you need to come up here and give that. And I saw the guys and say, hey, if you can show me where in this book that takes I cannot be on this public sidewalk. If you can show that, then I will come out. But if you can't show me that, please come on in front of me and do not touch our property. And the police just back away, and I said, wow. And that's when I said, wow, it really inspired me, and it really intrigued me. And I said, and it gave me a level of confidence. I say, okay. And then I say, okay, so I'm not following blind now. This is my partners and them, and I seen what they're doing. I said, like, they're doing a good thing. But I understood that they're not only doing a good thing, they're doing a lawful thing, they're doing a legal thing, and what they're doing there is a powerful thing. I think, like, I want to be part of that. And we need more people. So we're looking for more people to get in and understand the way I understood and join and feel that confidence. And the more of us that have that confidence, it's the more powerful we become to take control of our destiny and our situation,
Yeah. So, okay. I hear that from the point of view of people who might be feeling afraid to stand up. But then, there are a lot of people who are getting fed just enough. It's called breadcrumbing, where they're getting fed just enough by the current system to stay happy enough, to stay happy, just happy enough to keep saying yes to the system. So what are you going to say to people like that? Like, how do you reach people like that?
It's a mirage, though.
It is a mirage.
So when we went around the country, remember we still have the Saturday program where we used to go from community to community, and people used to tell us straight, they understand what's happening. And one of the things we used to do, we actually used to target like labor rights strongholds. So we used to ensure that the areas we went are areas that are predominantly labor. So, but what the people used to tell us straight, they understand what's happening. Nobody never chase after us, They used to tell us straight, they understand what's happening, and they and most people, I mean, you'd get 1-2 people that kind of, talk. But most people would tell us straight, they understand what's happening, and they just want, what they would really like to know is what's next. That is why I say, if we put the policies together and show people like, this is the intention, this is the vision, look is what is next, I believe Dominicans will go for it. I believe so. Because they actually told us, they just want to know what's next. If you can present that plan and show them what's next, how we can get rid of them fellas and what we can do moving forward, That was
Flacco, what do you
that
go
was
ahead,
what
Byron?
all where we went. That was sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead. You say all where you went. That was the theme. That was the running
Yes, all
theme.
where we went. That was the one talk
You
people gave
saying
us.
people
Like, what
tired
they
of
wants
that?
to
You
know
saying
what's
people
next.
exhausted? Are you suggesting that people are
Definitely. No,
exhausted?
they're exhausted. They are exhausted. They are
They
exhausted.
winning. So wait. I'm a country girl. So my dad used to have a phrase. I don't know if you all have ever heard that. He
Yeah,
would
man, we
say,
be there.
Timun Laka winning more. Like they wearing him out. So it's almost like they winning those people, right? It's just
Definitely. Yeah, man.
oh my
Right now,
god.
people tired, and they just say it. They just say it. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's just listening. People just watch like and people would say, "Oh, them labor rights stupid," but they're not stupid. They're
Mhm.
not stupid. Some of them don't have an option. They don't have a choice.
Survival.
So some
Survival.
of them
Compromise themselves.
they have to do what they have to do for them to be able to eat. And
Yeah.
and that's why I just tell man, me I can hold that against nobody because I
Mm.
understand what it is.
Yeah.
But they will always ask you, what's next? Where's the plan?
Yeah.
Are we moving forward? Are we getting rid of them? You know?
Yeah.
They will ask you that. They will tell it to you, and they check in like once. That is why I keep saying, once we can do that, that is why I say we put it together and we say, okay, we visit each and every one of us in Dominica, all our fellow
Mhm.
Dominicans, and make them
Yeah.
know, well, okay, this is the plan, this is how we're moving forward, that is what we're doing. I believe, like tomorrow, Labour Party would be gone.
They be gone.
Yeah.
What do you think, Flacco?
Yeah, well, I think part of the human experience is looking forward to the next, to the next moment, and hoping that the next moment will be better than the last.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think people essentially or intrinsically have the mind of settling on, people want progress, and
Mm-hmm.
I think, it's just sometimes people have been misled, or people have faced adverse situations for so long, that they kind of apprehensive to maybe the new thing. They might want to have all the details before they can, so like
Right.
Pyro
Say
rightly say, people, even the man that might not be able to read and write, but he relies on information to make decisions, you
for
know
sure.
and you may not be able to give him a guarantee, but you have to be able to articulate something that,
That makes
because
sense to him.
yeah, because if I had the opportunity to ask uh, a class of high school students, how many of you want power,
Mm.
you know and
Mm-hmm.
everybody put their hands up. Oh, they don't, nobody want power, and then I flip the question and I ask them, how many of you want to be powerless?
Mm.
And from that perspective, so sometimes sometimes it's asking the question, you know
Mm-hmm.
you might see people there, and that is the thing, because of the whole stigma of, that's why I even trying to come out of the thing of calling people labor rights, and because
Right.
I think that is part of the stigma that making it, we
Yes.
have to identify people as human beings,
Yeah.
you
It's
know
Dominican
And that
citizens
was a
of the
thing
country.
we
and
had started doing.
yeah,
Dominicans first. Yeah.
Yeah, man, we are all Dominicans. At the end of the day,
Mm-hmm.
some of us, I always say, all
the
of us we
the
bless, but we don't bless in the same way.
yeah
We all
the
have
For sure.
different.
so I was just let me the you see the what we want to spark essentially is the curiosity, you know because if we saying that we govern by laws, telling me
Mm-hmm.
that it have a law dictating how you telling me that I'm not truly free, so
Yes.
if you're going to be making laws that are going to be governing my life, I have a duty to inform myself, because sometimes
Participate.
you will put laws on me that you will not even inform me, because it may
Right.
not be in my benefit. So we have to spark that natural curiosity and get people away from the apprehension of wanting to know, you know, whenever it comes to the things that
But I
will
have to take
affect
it
them.
further
Yeah. So
because, I mean, yes, people, most people, I believe most people do not have the initiative to really do those things. And that is
Mhm.
where the leadership really comes in,
Yeah.
you know, like
Mhm.
to really show the road and put some people on the on the road, you know what I mean? And that was one of the reasons too that for us we kind of stood up because it was just going on about the problems, the
Mhm.
problems
Mhm.
for years and years. It's all about the problems, the problems, and we need to build solutions. You know, we need
Yeah.
to hear
Well, what's the
solutions.
solution for a person who is being victimized? What's the
Well,
solution?
it's kind of the discrimination is something that is illegal, and we have not had any. I don't know of any case that has been taken to the court against
Mm.
discrimination. And one of
Mhm.
the things we would definitely advocate for, I mean, instead of taking people to court over all other type of things, take the resources and assist people that have been discriminated against to have
Yes.
that legal support
Yes.
to be able
Mhm.
to take the government to task. I mean,
Mhm.
there's this organization, or it's called Flaco, Nick Cliff.
Yeah.
I mean, those are the things that they should be pushing for. I mean, we in ourselves we don't really have the economic capacity. I mean, what we could probably do is put an organizational structure to probably assist one another. You know, like seek
Mhm.
funding, seek legal counsel to be able to assist
Yeah.
people. You know, and
Mhm.
but that is something, you know, like the human rights aspect of it, the discrimination. Definitely, if discrimination is fought against and we could even get one case,
Mhm.
then definitely it would
The
stop.
precedent. You set the
Has to be done.
precedent.
Yes,
It will let people
Mhm.
know that
yes,
yes,
because
it is true.
and at the end of the day, people would be able to see that
Mhm.
yes, it have a way to actually stand up, you
Consequences.
Right.
know, and I believe that definitely is one way in fighting the discrimination. But
Mhm.
education is another aspect of it. Education is definitely important, and educating people about their rights and the structure, how things supposed to function. Like these things are indispensable, you know. So
Mhm.
all of us
Well,
should
Can I say something?
I go ahead, Coach Maggie.
I just want to interject there.
Go ahead.
Breaking, like breaking the law, or let's say, for example, violating our rights
Right.
has to be of consequence.
Right.
And if it is of no consequence, then it is inconsequential. The rights might
Mhm.
might as well not exist.
They disappear. Might
You
as well
know, so
disappear. Yeah.
Yep.
but when you when you speak to some of the lawyers, they will tell you that the only way to protect your rights is through your financial, your financial
Financial and
circumstance.
legal.
Now
Yes. Yes.
we
Yes.
as a collective have to fight to ensure that there is a, because there is a mechanism,
Of course.
because I've asked lawyers before, is my right my property? And I believe
Mm.
that it is, because by me saying, by me using the word my,
Right.
inferring my, it
Mine.
implies
It belongs to
possession.
me.
So it
Right.
belongs
Right.
to me,
Right.
it's my property. And there is
Right.
a clause in the constitution that says that anybody who is deprived of any right, of any property, sorry, and in
Mhm.
brackets it says of any description,
Mm.
that means my rights. So if
Right.
my rights, if you take away my rights, then I have a direct course of access to the high court to determine, the extent of the violation and compensation for the violation.
For
But
real.
as it stands, the only way I would be able to, even if I have the right to access, I would then have the financial part of it to so I was listening to to a discussion, a panel discussion with one of the regional lawyers, where he was saying that some of these cases where you have poor people rights being violated should be taken on by the legal counsel at no cost initially,
Pro bono, yeah.
and then when the case is heard and the compensation or whatever is awarded, then his remuneration would come out of that, because
Right.
that is not just a win in a case, that is safeguarding your constitutional protections, which is even yours as a lawyer. It is the
Your right as a
right of every
citizen.
citizen. So it is your
Responsibility.
duty as a lawyer
Right.
to
Right.
to make
Responsibility.
yourself, to avail yourself in not
Mhm.
in the protection. When you see other people's rights being violated, you should see your own rights being violated,
Right.
and that should be an impetus for you to act, not on
Right.
another person's behalf, but with that kind of
See, that's a
nobility.
With the
responsibility.
greater
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
With
it's
the
a great
greater good
responsibility.
in mind. With the greater good in mind.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, and just to add that what we also have to we have to make each other realize that when one person's rights is violated, it's not just them being affected. It affects all of us because, for instance, my rights are being violated. I try to do something and I'm being discriminated by being blocked from getting access to certain resources to make something
Right.
happen, so that I can get some earnings and to get opportunities for others, and then I'm being blocked. So
Right.
that affects not only me, but it affects those people I trying to prevent and provide the service to that would
For
assist
sure.
them. And I'm talking from experience. For instance, I'm involved in sports. I'm helping the
Mhm.
youth and them to get opportunities to get scholarship for sports, and
Right.
constantly being blocked and denied their access to resources that will help them
Wow.
use. It's not for myself. I want to utilize that facility, and then
Mhm.
being
Mhm.
blocked all over. But it is depriving not me, but the
Mhm.
youths and their family. And through all that discrimination, I've still kept on pushing, never stop, and have
Mhm.
so many youths out there. I Last I checked, I've helped at least 19 youths out there
Wow.
through football and basketball to go, and
Yeah.
families, all their families get affected positively by
Of
that.
course.
Imagine if I wasn't being discriminated against, and
Mhm.
and I was given the support. How
Right.
much more, So we need to make each other understand that this thing that's going on is not just when it doesn't only affect the person, but it affects all
Mhm.
of us, because
Right.
all of us it is one people, one Dominica,
Right.
So each one, rich one, and everybody, we have to check for each other
So,
so that
so essentially that kind of system is blocking the other gold medalists potentially in
yes,
10 years who might be coming through you, but who getting stopped at you. Yeah. So they don't get the support, they don't get the services, they don't get access. The whole country loses.
Definitely.
and like what Flacco was saying about the system of the court, and that the fact that the poor don't get, because of you have to have the money. Now imagine that the court belongs to who? All of us is Dominica. The
Right.
police force is all of us is Dominica. But it's like
Mm-hmm.
it's not. It don't really. It only look like it belongs to those that have money. But
Mm-hmm.
we all contribute towards it. Every single
Right.
one of us. So we
Right.
all should have equal access to all of these things.
Right.
So it's not because I things are happening for me I cannot afford that I should not be afforded the opportunity to get protection from our court, not
And in
their
a
court.
healthy society, that's how it works. Everybody
Yep.
has equal access. Yeah. Everybody understands, yes, that when you have a little extra money, yeah, that can push stuff. But still, for the most part, you have more faith in the system working for you. And we have to fight for that because that is important.
Equal rights and justice for all.
For sure. Tyrone?
You see, the thing about the constitutional matter, constitutional violations, they are not treated by the police in in the kind of like a criminal matter.
Like a
Then
criminal
they
matter.
do not go out and arrest based on constitutional violations,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
The responsibility rests on the citizens, on the people whose rights are being violated, to
Right,
use that access to the high court to have the determination made, and the court will then instruct,
yeah,
because that is what happens. The consequence is what instructs the agents of state of where the borders of their jurisdiction lie. So
right,
if you're saying that on every Wednesday when the people come to walk up the Kennedy Avenue, you carrying out a police operation there, discriminating against citizens, allowing certain citizens to pass and others not to pass. So
right,
there is no state of emergency. There is no suspension of my rights. You are violating my right of access to free movement on every Wednesday on
right,
Kennedy Avenue. Now,
right.
when I ask you as a police officer, on what grounds are you determining who you allow access to Kennedy Avenue? Because clearly you allow certain people and
Mhm,
you're not allowing others. Is it based on my color? Is it based on my race? Is it based on my
mhm,
religion? And they cannot respond. Okay. And
mhm.
there there is a recourse. We
There's
cannot
always a
arrest,
recourse.
we cannot
Yes,
arrest the police officer,
yes,
but we should have the financial means. And that's why I believe that our public servants need to be appraised. The people need to get the value of their work, because
right,
the people in the public service supposed to be almost like the standard by which the rest of society is paid and treated. So people
right.
supposed to be able to afford to go to the court and manage certain things. But when you're saying that we know that majority of our working population don't earn above the taxable income, then they're not making more than $30,000 a day, and
Mhm,
sometimes the
mhm.
cost of accessing the protection of your rights is way beyond that
It's too
cost.
much
So
prohibited.
we are basically in bonded or bind by our
Yeah,
financial circumstance. And
yeah.
even compounding that is that we have that limited understanding of our rights. So we never have the situation where the high court will hand down some advice that the police are acting unconstitutionally and they should cease and desist and allow the people to access. you know that
So the
is
high
how.
courts, so the high courts are not even they're not a safety measure for the people. Is that what
No,
you
they're
said?
not. They're not. But that is the way it is designed. But unfortunately, because we do not use the instrument of the high court,
Hmm.
because as a common citizen, you cannot go and tell the police what to do. The police get their
Right,
directives from above. But the
right.
high court can make its determination and instruct the
So,
police that what they are doing is unlawful
but
and they
you,
should cease
but are
and
you
desist.
suggesting that the high courts themselves
And not just
probably
there,
have
but even
restrictions?
they should even, because I believe that without consequence it is inconsequential. So there should be a there should be a compensation
Right,
awarded to people whose rights have been violated. So there will be a
citizens.
financial burden on the state
Right.
whenever they hear people's rights being violated. So they will ensure that their agents refrain from violating people's constitutional rights.
Okay, so let's talk about solutions for a minute, because okay, one possible solution is the high court intervening. But from what you're describing, the way the system is set up right now, that's probably not going to be an option. That's not going to be a voluntary option by the high court. Yeah,
It is though.
and it is. Is the high court going to step in?
The thing about it, they don't voluntarily step in. So, for instance, you'd have to take it to the high court. So, you'd have to get a
Right.
lawyer and take it to the high court.
So this,
You know
you're
what I
coming
mean?
to my next solution, which
Right.
is
So,
money, right?
you're right.
Finance.
So, for instance, in the 97 review of the Constitution done by Dr. Grell and the others,
Hmm.
one of the recommendations was that in constitutional matters involving persons' rights and freedoms, that the state would absorb
The
the
cost.
Yeah.
Oh,
so people
really?
would be, yeah, so people would be free to challenge. If people would be free to be able to defend their rights and freedoms,
But that's a
because
recommendation. Is it?
yes, that
Is it?
was a recommendation that was made on the
very
constitutional
good
review. So, like for instance, that's what I'm saying. So, like all these things with policies that we could take and present to people and make them know that this is what we're interested in implementing and creating that vision of a liberal Dominica where you can be who you want to be, and you don't have to be bonded by someone else's idea of who you should be, because
Right.
we are all, each of us are individuals of different ideological thinking, or we all
And we used to
want to do
value.
something different,
We used to value that.
Yes, and that is our strength. That is our strength, That is one of our strengths, that we can all be the individual that we want to be, So
So okay. So I'm a little stuck on the financial piece, because if people are only working for about $30 a day, we're still stuck in survival mode because we don't have enough leftover money to think about getting an attorney. So you all are suggesting that attorneys of good conscience,
definitely,
Yes, that's one option.
of good conscience,
good faith.
attorneys of good conscience, and they know what I mean, because
Yes,
as
yes.
a psychologist, I have to
Pro
do
bono.
pro bono work
Yeah, man.
as an
Me too.
ethical
Hey,
responsibility.
Ronald Charles, you on?
Yeah. Oh, God, no.
There we
Pro
got another,
bono, Ronald. I waited for my pro bono.
and you get to determine who you work with, or how you use your skills and whatever. But that's part of your recommendation as an ethical professional, right, in your field. So that's one avenue. Another potential avenue is cooperatives
Yes.
on a smaller level.
Yes.
We are people who know how to do a susu, who know
Yeah,
how to
man.
do a
Definitely.
sub.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah,
man.
yeah, could may, where we know at that, so top and bottom, at the bottom, we do if I can give $50, this time it's you, somewhere devant Saudi, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So $50, $50, $50, $50
Yeah,
bucks.
man. One fully bucket.
Yes, one for the, because that is very important.
Of course.
Establishing that
Definitely.
precedent is very
And it's for the
important.
benefit of us all.
Of
eh?
I
all.
believe that would make our
All,
society
because the way we're
more.
describing it right now, it's like like just a piece of like concrete over people's heads. How do you breathe in that? How do you create in that space? How does the country flourish
You
in that?
cannot.
It can't flourish in that space. People need to understand this. It is not going to flourish in that state.
And the thing about it, Doc, like if you look at the present situation, people finding all kind of ways to circumvent it. So you finding the back door, man risking their lives, dying to just get out.
To escape.
Who can afford to send their children go? They sending their children
Yeah,
go. So
yeah.
the brain drain. Who gets scholarship, and if you even look at it, the scholarship program sending the brighter minds go, in the hopes that they will not return in.
Right.
Because there's what they're telling you, there's nothing to come back to.
Yeah.
You don't have a job, you don't have nothing, the
And I mean,
economy.
even in the way that they're sending them basically off on their own. They're telling them to shake
Yes.
their pampalam when they
Yes.
go out. They're saying basically, get out of here. We will give you the first whatever, and we'll
Right.
we'll
Yeah,
do
man.
this and tell you we're going to give you more. But you
Yeah.
figure it out in the foreign country.
Yeah.
We're
It's
not
on
even
own.
buying you to the country. We're not telling you to come back and give us 2 years of
You
service.
can go where you want
Run
to.
away.
Do what you want. We don't need you. Go away.
Yeah.
You know.
And now I just wanted to I want to add another solution, which is to educate each other and educate ourselves. If we educate ourselves and understand the rights and responsibility, then we can represent ourselves. And
Our
then we
own
need to,
interests.
yeah, and that we need to make use of the legal aid. There's a legal aid service, right? So
Ah,
we need to. It's time for us to make use of that. That's something we can make use of, because we need to be we are capable of representing ourselves. So Pyro
yeah.
represent himself, and I was
Oh,
like, yeah,
really?
I want Pyro to represent me. Because the way I see Pyro
I need
handle,
to
he's
hear
coming
about
in front of
that.
the magistrate there. I check in, well, boy, Pyro need to represent me, because I lose my case or Pyro lose his case. You know what I mean? So we are capable of representing ourselves, and all we need is a little, the legal aid,
Knowledge.
just to give us a little guidance, and we
Yes,
can do
yes.
it. And the knowledge, once we understand, it's like I said, is I understood the constitution from them, and when I see it, I say, okay, and that gave me the confidence. Okay, well, I can represent myself. When I come from the police
Right.
station and the policeman telling me, come out, you got you, I tell him, well, I at your home, man. I on the public road, or you can, you a big
Big
man like you,
money
or you're watching
on
me
the
and telling me, so
street.
because I have
Right.
police shit on you, you want to tell me, go where? On the public road, I be with? So if I didn't understand that, like other people, they would get afraid. They
Right.
and go because about the authorities tell me come out there, boy. Let me come out there for them man arrest me, boy. No,
Right.
boy. Arrest me for what? I do nothing. I on the public road.
But you see, we tend, you see that word arrest. Anytime we hear that word arrest, like we get so afraid. You check me.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I believe all that is a symptom of the lack of that, the lack of the pushback from the people, the lack
For
of people
sure.
going to the high court and
For
having those
sure.
kinds of
Checks.
determinations being made,
Yes.
because people, to me, if somebody is falsely arrested, people should be eager to be falsely arrested.
Absolutely.
That
For
should
them
be
to prove.
considered a payday.
That's
you
right.
know we need to put, to me, I think that is the kind of fear of God we need to put back in our public
Absolutely.
servants and the people that serving us. Because
Absolutely.
I cannot be an honest person and I afraid I haven't break no law and I afraid of arrest for what?
Right.
And it all comes down to that thing. We are governed by laws, and we have to understand that laws can be unjust. That is why it is
Absolutely.
said that the Constitution is the supreme law of the land, because we acknowledge that laws can be passed that is against our best interests.
That's
And
right. That's why
those
slavery
are,
existed. Slavery was a
yes,
legal operation.
Yep.
Yeah.
and those laws, the Constitution is there to ensure that we have a means to repeal those laws and to push back against those laws. But
Yes.
like I keep saying, and I want to keep reiterating through the program, that if there is no consequence for breaking the rules, then the rule
Right.
becomes inconsequential.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
rule basically
That's
does
just
not exist.
like
So
Tashikoku. Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
we and people tend to, I get that about my personality a lot. People tend to tell me like, oh, why so negative and why you so, but it's not a matter of me being negative. I am intense because I understand the gravity of what we're
Yeah.
dealing with.
Yeah.
I understand that to be governed by laws mean that you are truly not free, and the person who is making the laws, if they are not in your best interest, if they are not quote unquote honorable,
If they're
then
not
they will
honorable,
implement things against your best
you will hurt.
interest.
You
You
will
know,
hurt.
so I cannot just go with the flow and be all positive and zen when I
Yeah.
know that perilous times advancing on my doorstep. So
That would be living as a child. That would be living as an adult in an adult body as a child,
yeah,
as a
we
weak,
can't be
helpless
naive,
child.
man. Yeah.
Yeah. So Pyro, you defended yourself
Yes, a few times, not once.
a few
Couple times.
times.
Yeah. I've never lost it, dog. I have a record.
Wait, you gotta let us know. Can you share some of that? Like what happened? So we're talking about intimidation. And for a lot of people now, Pyro, a lot of people in Dominica are saying, no, there's no intimidation. They're
It
making this
exists.
stuff up. What do you have to share? You said a few times.
Yes, I went to court about, well, one time I had a lawyer. I've had around 3 or 4 cases. I only had a lawyer once. So the 2 other cases, one time, what they charge us for, mask and them thing there.
Yeah. COVID time, COVID, no mask business.
Yeah. So, well, I won that case. I used, called in a few witnesses, interrogated the officer. Well, he was his only witness. And that is the thing about the court, right? Always somebody, the arresting officer, the witness,
Everything.
yes, it's just one person,
A one-stop shop.
Yeah.
just one person. So I'm checking it. Impossible for you to defeat me. One person? No.
Another lawyer, and I lost a similar case with same case. Imagine, same case. I lost with a lawyer, and the man win without no lawyer. I say if I am my lawyer, I want that lawyer.
Wait, Maggie talking about that a lot. Maggie, that's on your heart.
That burn me. That burn me, God. That burn me. Saka bule mo.
So
I don't know the case where I was arrested in front of the police station, but in
Yeah.
that case there, yes, that was the one I had the lawyer, and that case it became like basically most of those cases. One of the things about it is that they violate our rights. We have a constitutional right, I think is I can't remember the exact section of the constitution, but then you have you're supposed to be guaranteed a speedy trial,
right.
right? It's I think it's section 8 of the constitution that you're supposed to be guaranteed a speedy trial. And when those cases drag and drag and drag, they cannot present no evidence against you, no nothing, and drugs and drugs. By right,
Waste
the
your time and
magistrate's
your
supposed to
money.
dismiss. They're supposed to dismiss those cases, right? But then they go in favor of the police, which is showing discrimination,
Right.
And me, I just come down. I just make the magistrate have it because I am not having it, man. You cannot violate my right and tell me about you giving. What about my right? You are the magistrate. You're supposed to create balance,
Yeah.
right? You're supposed to give me. There's so many violations, right? Because they're supposed to give me they're supposed to give anybody that goes to court. The court's supposed to give them the facility and the resources that they can defend themselves.
Right.
That's a constitutional right. They don't do it, right? There's a court. There's a library in the court. The public cannot access. Well, it's closed off because it's
Mold.
yeah, mold. So you don't have you do
You're
not
not
have
keeping it up in good condition,
no.
essentially.
So things after I think it's things after Mario before that it's taken over by mold.
Yeah.
It's infested with mold, so it needs to be cleaned out and make sanitary that people can use it. So not having a library that someone that defending themselves could use is a violation of your fundamental rights. And
Sure.
the court is like, to them those things don't matter. You have people sitting out there in rain, sunshine, it stink. I mean the bad odor, feces, all type of things, and we complained, we brought it up to the magistrate something. Well, I see now they put a shelter there.
Definitely.
But the environment is still filthy, it stinks, it just bad, and then like sometimes I wonder if them, because I remember the first time I experienced it, like I told the lawyer boy, like, and he's I should bring that up. He should bring it up to the magistrate, and he's telling me, no, leave it alone. So I'm telling him, no, I'm not leaving it alone. I must bring it up to the magistrate, because if you don't want to say it, then I'm going to say it, because it's something that is affecting me right now. It is a fundamental human right.
Yes.
Right. That you are in. It is our fundamental human right to a clean, healthy, and sustainable environment. That was passed in the UN, I think, in 2018 or something like that. So these things, we have to arm ourselves with the knowledge and be able to use it.
To do a little research.
Use it, yes.
You have to be willing to stand up for ourselves.
Yes, brother.
You have to be willing to be adults.
Yes, definitely.
Man. Be willing to be of consequence.
Of course, or else people will make you inconsequential.
Right.
Yes.
And the thing about it, as long as you're acting in good faith, you're acting in good faith, and you're not violating no laws.
Yes.
Right? You're standing within your you're within your rights and your freedoms. Really and truly, there's nothing that people can do to you, I mean, they will try to intimidate you to get you to stand down.
Right.
But you have to defend your ground.
Right.
You have to stand up and defend your ground and make them understand that, yo, we know what you're trying and do. I know what you're trying and do. I understand what you're trying and do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why don't
Right?
you do it?
So don't try and play that game.
Yeah.
Let's do things like it should be done. You know, I know
So
the court is a corrupt institution, and boy, our stories, you know, but
And let me
some
tell
of them
you,
things I don't want to
and
discuss publicly.
and just to add to what Pyro is saying, you know, in
yes.
terms of like the for instance, the place by the court, you know,
Mhm.
it's like we have to understand that it everybody we have to check for each other. It's not because you're comfortable that you do check in, you like leave it alone because you're comfortable inside because you have the privilege of
Yeah,
being
exactly.
inside.
And I told the magistrate that, you
Yeah,
know, like you sit down in your AC, you good, it's
AC,
not
yeah,
affecting you. So we that on the
outside,
outside,
real slavery
in
thing,
the rain,
in the
in the
sun.
sun, there's
We have no
you
schedule.
have mentally ill people
Yeah,
defecating all over the place. The place stink. You have rats, cockroaches running up and down, centipede, and you telling me I have to stand up there for how many hours until you call my
yeah,
name,
man.
and I shouldn't say nothing about it.
You have witnessed a
Like,
person you're going up
that's
against
madness.
right next to everybody together, and then you're
Mm.
outside there in that environment, and then the people in them are privileged to be inside there telling you leave it alone because they, and then other people there have been, you know, they experiencing but they're not speaking, but we checking like nah, yo,
Right.
that
Right.
needs to be sorted out, like that's not right,
Yes. Yeah.
and we agitate and so there's right now they put a cover in and put two washroom facilities there,
Yeah.
and we don't want to claim and say it's us that make it happen, but we have to say,
Mhm.
well,
Yeah.
we will help, you know, our agitation and our
Yeah.
relentless of not just staying silent and you know
So I'm
that's what
hearing
we
you
need to
guys.
do.
Those are there you go. Those are solutions. We, the individual citizens, have to be willing to learn
Hmm.
our rights,
Hmm.
learn
Definitely.
where we stand, right? To work
Yes.
within the law,
Hmm.
but also be willing to stand up and speak
Correct.
up when stuff is not going the way it's supposed to go. We have to be willing to be adults.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like you see the thing about it, like the people and them like pyros and like we say they want to act, they are fed up, they want the change, but they fear taking the action. They don't want to take actions that are going to be a consequence to them, like they don't want to be do an action, they're not sure they're doing it if they're breaking the law.
Well, the thing about it, people kind of fearful that they take an action
And get
and they fail.
arrested,
And they
yeah,
don't,
So, like
yeah, yeah,
yeah. So, for instance, you may be saying, "Boy, let's go and take down the government, make a big protest to take them man out of office," and then you fail and you're checking like, "Boy, police gonna come for me, this, that."
yeah,
hmm.
you fear
People
that.
Well,
kind of fear
what
that
would you
thing.
say about that? What would you say to people about that? To regular
Well,
people who they walk with a lot of fear about that.
the
So
way
they
I
take
look
a
at
lot
it,
of mess
the
instead
way I
of
look at it, Doc, if it's done, if it's done like it should be done,
mhm.
then we would never even reach to that point. Because if we build a protest, build a protest, build a protest, build a protest, that we constantly build that crowd, build that crowd,
Right,
build that crowd,
right,
build that crowd. So you're out there for days and weeks and you're building that
right,
crowd. There's no way you're going to fail it.
right. Well,
And
so
especially
why do you think protests have failed then in Dominica of late? Because they didn't always used to fail. Protests used to work for
Exactly.
us in Dominica. Yeah, we
Exactly.
didn't we were not having it. I keep saying my niece and I were just, we're talking again about Dominica being perhaps the one island in the Caribbean. Our people refused to be completely colonized. We refused it.
Right.
The Negmaon and the Kalinago people
What's it?
refused it. They did not stop fighting. Yeah, they
correct.
didn't
And Doc
stop.
is not just the Cali Nago, you know. You see, that's something I wanted to add say earlier on, you know. You see, like in Newtown,
Yes,
we grew up with Rasta principles, you know, Nomte. What they call the
ex-
Nomte, the
yeah,
original. Never give up.
yeah.
Don't make nobody take away your dignity and your pride from
That's
you. You
right.
know, respect
That's
yourself
right.
always.
Never back
You know,
down.
we grew
That's
up
right.
with them things instilled in us, you know. You know,
That's
like,
right.
yeah, you know, and you look them Rasta man in the community. Myself, I grew up enough Rasta man in my family.
Yes.
So I learned them things from little boy. You have to be. You have to have your dignity and pride, you know.
Even if
And
that's all you're left with. Because you need to
yes,
be able to look at yourself in the mirror 100%. You
yeah,
know,
man.
you can't be
You have to
watching
always
yourself
respect
in
yourself.
shame. Yeah, you can't be watching yourself in shame. And I feel like from what you're saying and what I'm hearing, what I'm seeing, too many of our people are walking around in shame with their heads bowed down because they know there are things they ought to be saying no to that they're being very quiet about, and things they need to be saying yes to that they're being very quiet about. Instead of rocking the boat, they're going along to get along. But that's not healthy. It's not healthy in any other area of your life. So it's not healthy here, you know. So Winsty's got a point here. Winsty says the intimidation is so real that he remembers when y'all started your program, either y'all or me. Winston, you gotta say if it's me or Moun Sèwyé. He said he was always following and commenting. I remember you commenting on my programs a lot. He said on one occasion somebody actually screenshot his comments, asking him what he meant by that, and telling him that he was following Koshoni and talking Maji, and this was just so disrespectful to him. He says to think that he should not have an opinion. So this is real life, regular people. Yeah, regular people who
Yeah,
are
but
being treated like kids.
yeah, but you see, I think part of that can trace back to the to the unions basically abandoning the cause of social
Advocating.
justice.
Mhm.
Because I think truly the unions had that essence of of justice and
Mhm.
having that responsibility almost
Responsibility is a good
where
word.
it's almost like where they were kind of building the bonds and bridging the gap between different institutions. So whenever the teachers have a problem, everybody would rally. So the police,
Mhm.
the
Right,
doctors, because it's the
right,
public service. So if
right.
if if you bounce your toe, why your toe doesn't ball out? Is your mouth that
Mm.
balling out?
Yeah.
You know, and your hand will hold on to the toe to try to comfort it. You know, but we just we allow like the right now the way the union operates is like whenever um the teachers have a problem, they're almost trying to deal with it in isolation,
Mhm.
and I think that is counterproductive because people need to be able to rally with each other. We need to be
Mhm.
able to identify with each other's problems. The same problem
Mhm.
that the teacher has today, I could have it tomorrow. And
Right.
when I need the teacher to show up for me, I have to show up for the teacher today, because when it's my I want somebody to show up for me.
Good man. Good man.
We cannot isolate ourselves, because it's in our isolation that we single out ourselves for the abuse, and to
Apart.
be
We're
we
picked apart
they pick us
easier.
apart.
Yeah.
So
The
I
lack of
believe,
diversity.
yes, I
Mhm.
believe as at the level of the union, they should be even doing some of the education that we doing, talking about the
Mhm.
Public Service Commission and its ability to carry out, to ensure that people get appointments within the public service, so we
Mhm.
don't have those situations created where you compromise people
Mhm.
integrity, and put people in compromising situations where they have to basically just follow orders, do what I say, because I will destroy you, you know
Mhm. Mhm.
and the thing about it is that the leader of the union openly declares that he's aware of that happening, you know so if you identify the problem for so many years, why is a solution not forthcoming?
Right.
Just the other day we had a situation where um people's social security wasn't paid for an entire year, and
Wow.
that's from a statutory corporation. So I mean, what are you doing to unify the people around those core issues that collectively affect them, rather than
Mm.
grouping them, putting them in little groups and dashing water on the fire when it starts, you know.
Mhm. Yeah, that's a great point about the unions. Did something change about the unions? Do we know, instead of having, there used to be DAO and WAU, right? That I remember. And then we have nursing association, teachers association, police by themselves. Like everybody's, so the unity, like you're just off by yourself, like a bird on a branch. Yeah. I don't know that that was in the best interest of the people to separate the pieces, like the groups. Yeah, because maybe it was easier to just, everybody would say no, we don't want this. If, say, teachers were being impacted, everybody in the union would show up. But now, if it's just teachers, then nurses are like, oh, it's not us, it's teachers. Yeah. Mhm. Oh my goodness,
Divide
guys,
and
this is
conquer.
what you say.
I say divide and conquer.
Divide and conquer. Divide and conquer. Okay, so I have a question for you guys. We have another 25 minutes or so. What are some ways people can support Moun Sèwyé? What are some ways people can support you as an organization?
What are some ways people could support us?
Yeah.
For the past, well, before, when we used to have the Saturday, we used to get monetary contributions
Mm-hmm.
to be able to pay for our fuel and do certain things, because
Mm-hmm.
we used to rent a vehicle. And most of it is things we used to do on our own. We never really used to, but some people start to contribute, and
Mm-hmm.
I guess, like, yeah, the contribution, we could bring it back and start back them programs and
Mm-hmm.
really get things going again. I mean, we could buy some equipment, maybe better
Mm-hmm.
the yeah, but we could get some more better the quality of the life, better the, do like maybe an online radio station, do
Mm-hmm.
different things. Uh, so it could be on more often, more regular.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yeah, we need to amplify the movement. We need the
Mm-hmm.
movement to grow.
Yes.
So we need people to come on board, and we need people to like, right now we they're in the forefront doing the speaking, doing the talking, and doing the
Mm-hmm.
walking. Or we need, people that can, put help to
yeah,
put programs in place,
Other
plans,
things.
help to do the
Yes.
promotion,
Yes.
help to, we need more
Yes.
services. Sometimes, yeah, the monetary contribution is good, but also the service, different aspect of it that you can come and add administrative work,
like before
Mm-hmm.
we used to like we had a thing we was doing, but Maria kind of, not Maria,
COVID.
COVID
Yeah.
kind
COVID.
of slowed down the
The
entire
damper.
movement.
Yeah.
Because what we
Mm-hmm.
used to do, like before, we used to organize, example, like we'd have a forum on agriculture
Yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
get together with persons that in the agricultural industry and see and have a chat and have a discussion and write up
Mm-hmm.
and so on. And we did a few of them with agriculture. I think the economists, a couple of them economists, and I think we did one on education. Yeah,
Education,
so we
yes.
did,
Mm-hmm.
it was free.
Yeah.
But that was
Perfect.
right before COVID, and then when the
Yeah.
COVID kicked in, it just kind of, yeah, everybody has in
Supply
lockdown.
energy. Yeah. Survival
Yes.
mode.
Put a
Everybody went
damper,
into survival mode.
put a damper
Yeah,
on the whole movement.
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
thing is, we didn't even think of the online vibes at the time to say, well, we could continue it online, but it just kind
Yeah.
of, yeah. But coming to think of it, like, those are things that we could come back to doing, like invite people if
Mm-hmm.
they know anybody else that they feel to themselves that could be, or just have an open invite whoever interested, show up,
Right.
Man.
have a venue,
Right.
and we sit down.
Collaborate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Collaborate.
yeah,
And
yeah,
Yes.
utilize the human resources.
definitely. Because I always feel we need an integrated approach. The problem it has to be an integrated approach. It cannot
For
be
sure.
just one person come or two people come and feel like Yeah, that is how no, we need an integrated approach. So like you say, see the discussions, or we just have our discussions. We just be eating against one another sometime, man.
Yeah, but that's how it
Yes,
is.
but
Keeping it real.
But
yeah,
that is life, and
Yes.
that is a strength, because that is where
definitely.
you really can grow, because you can tolerate the other
Yes.
person's
Yes.
no. You can tolerate the other person telling you no, I disagree. That doesn't
Yeah,
mean
man.
Yes.
no that they hate you because they
No,
disagree. They have a
no.
different perspective from what they're looking at the same situation, and you need that.
Yes.
and
Definitely,
and
it's
that's it.
important.
That's the way you will go forward in a positive manner. You check,
Yes,
because
I mean, think
like
about it.
that's the reality of life. The life is not a thing where everything that's going nice and dandy, and
No,
it's going to have timing where you say something, but then somebody have a different perspective, and then you start to thrash it out. And when you're in
for
thrashing it, you're
real,
going to become you when you come up with an amicable solution, you're
for
coming up with the
sure,
best way
for
forward.
sure,
And
for sure.
I want to add a little to that. I think in part of leadership, is allowing other people to grow into themselves as well,
For
right?
sure, for
You cannot,
sure.
sometimes you have the solution, right? But
Yes.
sometimes the thing in the people, okay, the people you aspiring to lead,
Mm-hmm.
in order to cultivate that trust, sometimes you have to allow them to make their mistakes. Sometimes
That's
you
right.
have to know the solution, and
That's right.
even when they are adamant and that they what they going to, they
Mm-hmm.
might fail,
Mm-hmm.
you have to allow them to fail so that they can,
Yes.
do the introspection, look
Mm-hmm.
back and begin to cultivate that attitude of, yo, I may not always be right, I could, maybe
Yes.
I could have listened to what Flacco was saying, or
Right.
no, the only way that you cultivating that is within the environment for that. There's
That's
a
right.
saying that
That's right.
if you ask God for patience, He's going to send you going to, is He going to
Yeah.
send you situations that will test your patience.
Right. Right.
So you have to be in the fire for you to get the purification then. So
That's right.
a lot of
Simple.
people you see that might be shying away from, there's nothing but your own self that you're afraid of,
That's it.
because
Correct.
all we just there waiting with open arms, and you see like Ronald comment earlier. Ronald is one of the guys I admire, one of the lawyers that I admire, because he had the testicular fortitude to come and sit down
With us.
with us,
Oh, really?
on air. And
That's great.
Yes.
yes, because I mean, we may not necessarily agree. We have our
Right.
differing political views and so on, but we have to be able to respectfully engage each other
Mhm.
towards progress. That's what we
That's
want:
right.
development,
That's right.
progress, true progress. We have to
That's
be
right.
willing to engage, and the middle ground is imperative. And if the
That's right.
politics is destroying the middle ground, then we need to put the politics aside for a while. If we have
That's
an
right.
independent movement that we trying
Yeah.
to get off, then like Maggie say, everybody has something to offer.
Mhm.
we
Mm-hmm.
are we may not be I know Maggie is a good organizer,
Yes,
Maggie,
sir.
but we could always do with more support.
That's right.
There, Maggie alone cannot do everything. Flacco
That's
alone
right.
cannot.
Yeah.
Everybody have to. It's like pieces of the puzzle.
Yeah,
Everybody have to
man.
get in where they fit in.
Right. So okay. So as you talk about Mr. Charles, we go 5 minutes about politics, and if you had a crystal ball, or if you want to forecast, what does our political future look like in 10 years? Realistically, given what we're facing, what is it? I mean, and granted, today one thing happens and a whole system falls apart, right? But 10 years from now, what are we looking like in Dominica?
10 years from now,
Hmm.
um, I believe presently there's a scramble going on. Presently,
Hmm.
there's a scramble going on that you find in a few different political groups, a few different political parties popping up and individuals, because Dominica is actually up for grabs. Like I say, people seeing that the Labour rights are actually kind of hard enough with Labour Party. So people trying to, but I think through that process, we'll find ourselves, man, as a nation.
Yeah.
I believe through that process we'll find ourselves as a nation. I believe 10 years down the line we'll definitely be beyond this. I believe we'll be beyond
There'll be a
the point
calm
we are on
after the
today,
storm.
that Labour Party would be out of office and that would be rebuilding Dominica, as come together as people, as
Yes.
Dominicans, and rebuild Dominica in a positive way, in a way that all of us can be able to participate in the country, and we don't have to feel like I have to be holding your way of thinking or your approach for me to be able to participate or be included in anything,
To even be able to
like I,
eat.
yes, you're right, and
I
I
just,
believe I believe by in 10 years we should have a solution in place,
For sure.
and
mhm.
Our
we
solution
should
should
be beyond where we are today.
So
We
what?
def-
So like what Flacco was saying earlier, like the thrashing,
Mhm.
about we've been doing for so long. You think within 10 years we will have thrashed ourselves to a better, higher solution?
Definitely, because I have faith in my people. I
For
Me
believe
sure.
I have
too.
faith in
Me
Dominicans.
too.
You check.
Me
Mhm.
too.
Yes, doc. I have
Me
faith in
too.
Dominicans, and I think we're at the point where people checking. They want something different. They want
Yeah.
something fresh. They
Yeah.
they just had enough,
Yeah.
and I believe Dominicans want something different, and
Yeah.
we see in it, and that is the reason all those different political organizations
Right.
actually popping up, is because
You're right.
there's a we don't know how they put it in the economics without a want. There's no supply,
Like demand, right, right.
right?
Supply
So,
demand, yeah. So
right. So you
clearly there's a demand. And so we're seeing all of these supplies show up, but
right,
something will coagulate or restructure itself or something
right.
to give
So
us
I
back
just
the
believe
fire.
it's just some time that all these different groups organize within
Right.
themselves and come
Hmm.
together, and yeah,
Hmm.
man, I have faith.
Yeah, and
I have faith.
so the way it is, we have to make up our minds,
Hmm.
that together we will achieve. We have the mindset. Is that the change we're looking for?
Right.
It begins with us. You
We are
know,
the change we're looking
if
for.
our mind is a mental revolution, so
Yes.
we need to change our mindset, and we need to
Yes.
trust and believe in first of all in yourself. So like Pyro
Hmm.
saying, his people, because himself, I know myself, and I think if I can do it, more, and it more can do it.
For
So
sure.
so I myself proven to myself that it's possible,
For
and we
sure.
just need more people to have get that confidence and get that belief in themselves. Because a lot of our people don't believe in us, in themselves, and they defer.
Mhm.
That's why we defer to others, including those in authority who feel like
Right.
those people overseas, they'll do the work better, and they will do and
Our
this and that,
people.
and not, but
Yeah.
that's because we don't believe in ourselves. But
No
I believe in
self-esteem.
myself.
Yeah.
Pyro does. So we need more people that believe in themselves. We have a lot of people. I want to watch people like these small businesses. I watch people in my own community, like
Mhm.
my neighbor, my brethren.
Okay, we lost Maggie for a little bit. Can you hear me, Maggie? The vibes strong, the vibes powerful. That's why Maggie freeze for a while. The heat. Yeah, Maggie,
Yeah,
you froze for a while, but it's because the vibe's so
yeah.
strong. You know what I'm
Yes, I was
saying?
saying, like, these are the
Good.
kind of, we have those potential, we have those people, we have that strength. I watch people like the guy with one pot, my partner Jason John Baptist,
Mhm.
from back in the days with recording cassette selling, and look at what you have. You have
Yes,
one pot Rosso, one pot Postmo. So these are people, we have a lot of people that can take nothing and make something. And this is
for
what,
sure.
we have among us, the strength we have. So many
Who
people
we
that can take nothing and make something.
are. Mhm.
When we come together, put this, that means we have the potential
For
to
sure.
take ourselves out of anything
For
and
sure.
make ourselves into something.
For
So we just
sure.
have to believe in ourselves, and each one reach one, each one teach one. You know, let's look to each other,
For
and it
sure.
and let's the different we're doing for how long we have been depending on putting the responsibility on others and
With
expecting them to
other
do for us.
people.
It's time for us to do for ourselves. Time for us to trust ourselves.
Seriously. Seriously.
Time for us to trust ourselves and feel like we can do it. We don't need no validation from no outside force to tell us, what to do. We know what we need
For
and we
sure.
can do it. We need to believe in ourselves and let's get it done.
For sure. Yeah, man.
Yeah. So to me, it's yeah, a renaissance. Envisioning a renaissance in Dominica, like Pyro, a redistribution of power, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and all the signs are there.
Mm-hmm.
Last time we had this the talk of the delegates conference for
Mm-hmm.
the Labour Party,
Mm.
and it was unchallenged.
Right.
Now, maybe some us people wouldn't think much of that, but to me, what that tells me is that there is nobody else who has the need for that totally consolidated power in Dominica. Nobody wants it.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wants that absolute responsibility for every facet of Dominican life.
Right, right, right. It's
If
not appealing
anybody was
style.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
if anybody was to have that position right now, I think they would be eager to
Mm-hmm.
give away responsibility, to
Spirit.
to delegate, to have to give power back to the institutions to take care of, because
Mm-hmm.
there is no need for
Mm-hmm.
that absolute
The
consolidated power.
personal
I mean,
need.
why would a man want to lift up an elephant for 100 years? And even be pushing people, you don't want nobody else to lift up the elephant, and you complaining about the elephant,
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
I like that analogy.
so nobody don't want the power, they don't want
Yeah,
all that power, everybody want a little bit of power,
yeah,
and that's what it needs to be.
yeah.
It comes back to the same thing with the class. When I ask them whether they want to be powerless, nobody wants to be powerless. But
Mm-hmm.
here we are creating a situation where it seems like we will end up powerless if we don't act, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
Mm-hmm.
So again, I see a renaissance when people see the need for their power, and not, you see, power, I would redefine power as responsibility, because it's
Yes.
we need
Responsibility.
to take back responsibility for ourselves,
Yes,
because
yes,
that's what power is. You know,
yes,
if
yes.
if
Personal
you're
power.
responsible for yourself, then nobody else really has power over you.
For sure,
But
for
if you
sure.
derelict your responsibility for yourself onto somebody else, then
Yeah.
crap will smoke your bike. You have to take what you get. You
That's
know.
it. That's it. Wow. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So I need from each of you, what has been your biggest lesson as we start wrapping up? Your biggest lesson from undertaking this journey of activism through Moun Sèwyé. What's been your biggest lesson?
Well, for me, from like I say, I used to be on the sidelines. We do check everybody checking their scene, we checking our scene,
Yeah.
and we don't really study in the government vibes and the public are checking. Like them people in the position, they have the authority and they taking care of things, making the environment what it is, and we know doing what we have to do to make our ends and check our and handle our responsibility, take care of
Mhm,
ourselves and ones and
mhm,
ones, and then realizing like you're feeling a strain, like something wrong, like you're feeling like the water is to flow, but the water don't reaching down no more, it blocks somewhere. So you're checking like
mhm,
what's going on, and then you find it through that movement, you start to figure out you fought well is that and the opposition and the government and then you realize as you go deeper and deeper and delve deeper, you realize really and truly is the same coin, and we people has no representation. The people
yeah.
themselves, we citizens, we don't have representation. The parties representing they're representing the parties, their parties
Mm,
and their supporters and that kind of thing, and the dividing. And as we go, we realize that nobody's having a conversation on our behalf and checking like
mhm,
this is what is needed. So as we go deeper, realize what they was making us believe and trying to play on our emotions. So, that's not what it
mhm,
is.
mhm,
We've been misinformed, misguided, you know, and we
mhm.
realize like, all we need to do is educate ourselves, and people are just making us feel like they let them allow them to do it for us. And
Right.
you don't know what you want, you don't know how to do it. We know, let's just do it. And they're not trying to teach you to do it. I'm teach you about it and educate you so you can. Though they want you to feel, because they want to make you feel feel important and feel like make you feel like you need them. You're making yourself feel needed and make you feel needy. And through the movement, they realize that's what's going on. So right now, we're trying our utmost best to educate our fellow men and women as to what is going on. It's been an uphill battle because of people watching. There's watch your way. They look at people in jacket and tie, and the people with the PhDs and the doctorates, and they tend to want to listen to those people and check like, who is this guy? Is Maggie, a coach, telling me about this and that? Maggie, that fella, and Pyro, a fella, yes, the architect and he study things, but them understand what they want, and they're not lawyer, they don't study law, they don't, this and that. So we learn why it has been so hard, but going through it for the longest while, realize that the constant pressure and the constant, we're getting somewhere. But that has been the experience,
Yeah.
thus far.
So what you're saying is you basically realized you had to get involved and take responsibility for yourself and your own outcomes in life.
Definitely.
Thank you for that.
Yes, To me, I'd say what I learned in the journey is that we are good people, Dominicans on our whole, but we just need the opportunity for us to be who we are, and I believe what I've seen so far and in the journey over the years, participating in Moun Sèwyé, I mean, even for myself, I mean, it's something that has really given me some conviction in terms of strengthening my character as an individual, So I believe we raise our level of consciousness and so on, and our whole intention, because what we're doing is in good faith, is in goodwill.
For sure.
We'd like to see others be.
So you'd like to see others.
And it's something that should be for all of us, that we should all be able to prosper, that we
all deserve to prosper. Their microphone must be hot with all those good vibes. So what I hear Pyro saying is that we, as Dominican people, we have a responsibility to ourselves, but we also have a right to prosper. Pyro, is that what you were saying? You were saying we got a responsibility as citizens, but we have a right to prosper as citizens as well.
1 second,
Yes. Thank you guys for your patience.
Yeah, you there?
Yes. Can you all hear me? I can hear you. They're trying to come back in. But Winsty, one thing you wrote was that the recommendation, you were talking about the recommendation that
our internet was just messing around.
Internet was messing up. Okay, I was going through that recommendation that Winsty, the post that Winsty made about a recommendation. I think that either Pyro or Flacco, one of you talked about either the Constitution you were talking about, or you were talking about the legal system making recommendations that the government of the day would have to pay some of the costs of people representing themselves. You all remember that?
It was What we said is that it was a recommendation for the constitutional review. It was one of the
Mm-hmm.
recommendations made in the constitutional review of 1997
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so
to
Winsley's
safeguard.
saying, well, the one thing is that might still give people a little bit of an exit route, an escape route, because they'll say, well, it's a recommendation and it's
It
not a
was never
law.
implemented.
No,
It
it was
was
never.
never
Yeah.
implemented.
Yeah.
So it was
Yeah.
when the constitutional review was done in 1997.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the
Suggestions, like high record, high
right,
suggestions.
right. So they would have had to amend
The
the laws, the
Constitution to allow
constitution,
for
and
that,
so on. Right,
but that was
but
never done.
it was never done. It
Mm-hmm.
was never done
Mm-hmm.
because it would work
Okay, keep
against the
going though.
politicians. So,
Yep, it wasn't in their best interest,
And
was
it
it?
would it would help to evolve the society.
Yeah,
uh,
yeah. And
And
if
then
your if their intention was not for that, if their intention was not to help the society to grow and evolve, again, as evidenced by so many measures to basically put a cap, put a ceiling over
exactly. Yeah.
people's heads of concrete, it is so hard that the only way people can move up is to align themselves with the system. You can see why that was not addressed. Yeah, you can see why that was not addressed. But keep going. Wait, finish your thought, Pyro. You were finishing up your biggest
Yeah, I kind
lesson.
of lost my train of thought.
Let me
But
ask you the
yes,
question. Biggest lesson from this journey.
sorry.
Biggest lesson from this journey with Moun Sèwyé.
Yeah, I mean, the journey strengthened my conviction personally, and helped me to be, I would think, a better person in the way I process things, especially.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, definitely. I mean, it has been a real interesting and adventure,
Mm-hmm.
because you never really know what comes next. I mean, you can organize
Right.
things and so on, but
Mm-hmm.
yes, you just have to prepare yourself, like be yourself, be responsible, be open, and yeah, because today or tomorrow you don't know what it brings, and we just have to carry on, try our best to fix our situation, you know.
Yes.
What Pedro say there? Peter Morris, my classmate, from
Oh,
Cuba.
really? He says,
Yes.
congratulations to you three gentlemen for always seeking to present positive vibes and nation building information to your people. Dr. Triphi, oh, how refreshing to view and listen to a woman's perspective through your moderation. Going forward, the group might need to attract young people, especially women, that can assist in fundraising and maybe, new technology, new style, new information vehicles. Your wittiness definitely, guys, would attract people as you go along, even with your physical presence and presentation. Power to the people's movement. And I want to second that, what Peter just said.
Okay. Thanks, man, Pedro.
Okay, Tyrone.
yes, well, my biggest lesson
Mm-hmm.
from the movement is that well, we understanding your value, because going around the different communities and listening to sometimes even young people, young teenagers, and it sometimes it's heartbreaking,
Mm-hmm.
that they don't even understand
Mm.
their value. You check,
Mm-hmm.
it's like you see that cap, is that like that cap that you talk about is like to them it's like exceeding that boundary, exceeding that barrier is like, yeah.
Impossible. Almost. They can't
And
see away. They can't
because
see.
I was having a discussion with one of these young people about the you know how long would they how long if they are 15, if they are 17 or
Mm-hmm.
18 years old right now, how long do they think they would have to wait for them to build a house, if they have to wait on their pal rep like every election cycle too.
Right.
And basically they were saying like it's what was it, Guajan that does get them those kind of money there. And it's like having your aspirations just limited, just stunted. And I believe from youth, we have to start to impress on our people their value. We cannot continue to have people growing from childhood into adulthood and never really maturing. You know, I see a lot of adult children, like children in adult bodies when I go around. And when we're talking about we are in the era when we're talking about the rights of a child. But how can an adult that cannot even guarantee their own rights guarantee the rights of a child? You know? So if we're talking about safeguarding our young people, and we have to, like you say, Dr. Trippi, we have to grow adults. We cannot have adult children's, and because I mean, listen to this. For example, we have a situation where our attorney general can say something as baseless as well, basically saying that he does not view VAT as a tax, and that anybody who is not earning the $30,000 yearly taxable income is not paying tax. So you're saying that majority of Dominicans do not pay tax, when that is a lie, you know. And if the people understood those things there and the depth of those statements like that would cause revolt, would cause rebellion, because you talking about a government that has sat there for 20 years and has not been able to grow the income tax base, where you have more people being able to earn upwards of $30,000 a month, a year. Sorry,
A year.
So basically, you letting us know that you're creating poverty, and you can speak down to us in that kind of a way because we can hardly even understand what you're saying. So then, when I look at I look at that even more of an imperative for Moun Sèwyé to go out and let the people understand their value, because this gentleman gets paid $8,000 a month plus expenses and allowances.
And I think we might have lost Flacco here for a minute. I tell you all, when you see the vibes get
Right.
hot, yeah, we lost you there for a minute.
Yeah,
Flacco. When you see the vibes get hot for real, them
yeah,
mics just
but let me pick up from where I
yes,
left off.
yes.
This gentleman makes $120,000 a year, and the election cycle is 5 years. So when you times that by 5, that's $500,000 that this man is earning every 5 years. When you look at, you have our government looking at young people and offering them $10,000, $20,000 for a vote, bribing people for next to nothing.
Right.
We have to develop the kind of character that will say no thank you when these people come with their bribes. And when we understand the value of, because the money don't have no value.
It doesn't have value.
The money is just a representation of value. What has value is our time. So we need to appreciate the value of our time, and your time is your life is time.
That's right.
So your time, if you appreciate your life, you appreciate your time, and you put your time to the best, to what will give you the best results in the future.
Yeah. It's time to chase these crazy ballheads out of town. We won't take no bribes.
Gonna chase
Yeah.
this crazy
Yeah,
ballhead.
time to chase them, yeah, out of town. Time to chase the crazy ballheads out of town. Let's liberate our people. Let's liberate ourselves. Yeah, man. We won't take no bribes. No more bribes. Time to
Thank
value
you.
ourselves.
And it starts with that. It starts with understanding who I am as a divine soul. everybody comes in with equal rights and they deserve equal justice. Yeah. I don't have to do anything unique to earn those rights. I just have to be. My IQ could be 2. I could be looking like the weakest or the ugliest or the tallest, the shortest. Everybody's got equal access here. And we, though, have to fight for that, because there are people among us who do not care that we are weak and naive. Not knowing is not going to save us. Not knowing your rights is not going to save you from the person who wants to take advantage of you. And you must understand that there are some people who are born this way, and there are others who are cultivated that way. I'm sorry, everybody does not have your best interest at heart. That is why, as an adult, it is your responsibility to learn how to care for yourself. And that's what I hear you guys saying. You've got to know what the Constitution says about who you are as a citizen in your country. Yeah. You've got to value yourself enough to know that this little push your hand in your pocket and give me my cool out, is you're degrading yourself by taking it. If you want to be peaceful, degrading yourself, because that means you are now on your knees to another human being. You have just surrendered your most honorable part of yourself for some money that, come on, you could earn that yourself if you plugged in.
It's your own money.
It's your own money.
Yeah, that's a bad thing about it.
You see part of you see all of that is part of the education that we need too, because the way we view money as a lot of one thing,
Yeah.
Because think of it, we think of that traditional thing they tell us from since school, like, you save money.
Yeah.
We need to teach our children in 2025 that saving not going to get you anywhere, because the money you save in, inflation is eating it up.
It's just that.
And you need to start learning to invest your money, and we're better
Absolutely.
to invest our money, but in each other.
That's
We
right.
have to start to see promise and possibilities in each other and in what we doing, so that is where, like I say, we need to support and serve each other and produce things, so that the politicians will go out there and create value for the things that we're producing. We cannot allow ourselves to become a consumer society, just and just this, basically focusing on service. Because all of the people who are coming on the tourist ships, these are people who have worked their entire lives and now are enjoying the fruits of their labor. So why can't we be able to enjoy the fruits of our labor as well in our retirement age? We have to be thinking of getting government contracts to continue working all the way on into our 70s, when we should be able to. We living in the best place. Dominica should be the best place to work, live, and retire, and we have to make it that way. Because depending on the government, depending on other people, is not going to make it happen.
That's right.
Yeah,
that takes sacrifice. That takes sacrifice, intention.
Yes.
Doing the work. Operating as an adult. When you hit 18, legally you're an adult. So whatever it is you were doing as a kid, you've got to start shifting it.
And that is when that's why we need to create it. Need to be a cycle which has been stopped, where we need to create that platform for the adults that come in, those that come in to make their contribution. Everybody need to make a contribution when you reach that stage in your life. Okay, give me the opportunity to make my contribution. So I can do my part for those that are coming behind me, and it goes along, just like the social security. Put money there for when you get old and older, and you get it, and then. So everybody, the younger ones put in there for the older ones to get, and it's just a cycle, just going like on and on and on, on and on. But when you block it, then you stop the whole growth. Then it's a problem. So what we need to do is just get it going again, where everybody gets the opportunity. Create the environment so that everybody can get the opportunity to make their contribution and then move on. I do my 5 years, I do a thing, I set up something, and I move
That's
on.
it.
And then somebody else come and continue it. We have that continuity, and we move on. And then
Yes.
it's good. We grow and we grow instead of
Yes.
one person that's sticking there trying to do something and don't give nobody else a chance.
You come and
I
you
can do
sit
it.
on
No,
our head.
stay there. Let me do it.
Yeah. But we're not
Yeah,
doing
man.
that anymore. We're not doing
No.
that anymore. We're taking responsibility for ourselves and we're saying that is not working anymore.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's change the approach. Change the
Yes, sir.
mindset.
Gentlemen,
Yeah, man.
thank you all so much. I appreciate you guys very
Yeah, man,
much.
Doc.
We appreciate you too.
Where can they listen to you and what time? Where can people listen to you and what time?
Well, we have the Facebook page Moun Sèwyé. Normally on a Monday night at 8, 9.
Mhm.
We have a live we run. Sometimes it does run for a few hours, but yes,
Yes.
definitely.
Yes.
On a Monday night.
Yeah.
Monday nights.
Anyway,
Okay, guys.
yeah, anyway, from 8 Facebook. Sometimes we does have YouTube, but for the past time, we haven't been
Facebook.
running the YouTube, but it's just Facebook for now.
All right.
But it was an honor and a pleasure to be with you tonight, Doc.
Same here.
Yeah, man.
Same here. Same here. All right.
Appreciate the
Thank you all
invite,
so
the
much.
invitation, and the collaboration. And we need more of that. That's why we need more of you, us, them, everybody. Let's come together. Let's
Yes,
share each
sir.
other's platform. So
Yes.
our people that view us get to view you and listen to you. You also listen to us, and then the message going to spread.
Doc, you're doing
Simple.
some great work,
Yeah, man.
Trust me.
I think I always say
I
that
appreciate
you're
you.
doing
You all
some great
too.
work, definitely.
I appreciate you.
Yeah,
But I
man.
mean, the vibe's so simple. You know what I mean? Like
True.
the formula simple, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, you all have a lovely Friday, the rest of your weekend. I'll be looking forward to listening to you all on Monday. All right.
Yeah, thanks, man, Doc.
All right, Doc.
Peace.
Hope you have a good
Bless her.
weekend. And the snow will
Thank
get you.
you. Bye. Peace. Thank you guys for listening.
All right, Doc.
For
Great,
listening.
great. Thanks.
Take it easy. Yes, sir.